Great day, great day, great day, great day, family. This is a voice of consciousness here with a live episode of Get Your It Together 2.1. Today is January 24, 2026, and still trying to get this technology together, having my issues and no excuses. Supposed to start at 10, but we didn't start until now. But nevertheless, we are live and we are seriously speaking to, once again, in a three-part series of um, the three-part series of addressing the elephant in the room. Okay, so, and I keep harping on this because this is a part of how it all works. We are to remember it takes reiteration and sometimes reconfiguration, which is some of what I had to do today, to re-emphasize and refocus on the presence that you already are as a divine entity. Because like I've said, and I'll continue to say, who I am is divine. What I am is divinity in motion. And this is every day. And practicing shamanism or being a shaman, it is of a vibrational shaman. It's not one that utilizes the gardens of the world or nature, as it were, in terms of the plants, but it's the garden of your mind and the planting or the unplanting of those seeds that have been allowed to germinate in your psyche. So addressing the elephant in the room speaks to, or at least we are speaking to, the fact that we've been laboring under a psychosis. We've been trained, conditioned, and programmed by a neurotic psychopath, a mindset, if you will, not a particular person, but a type of energetic presence that is of that nature, which is of your lowest nature. Actually, it's where you started from, or where you could start from. And a lot of us have a animalistic nature, but then there are some animals that are deemed dignified and deemed leaders and deemed those that have some integrity. They respect boundaries. There are a lot of aspects to your lower nature, which starts from the root chakra. And so the root chakra is not where you should stay. It's a part of the process to going, so to speak, up the ladder, or Jacob's ladder, if you will, through your spinal column with your energy in terms of the Kundalini rising. And so you will process through all of the chakras and then back down and then back up. So it's a process of a recycling energy. And the energy is attached to, connected to all aspects of you. So as you matriculate through life, you have experiences. Part of the experiences that you have are have not always been explained to you, have not always had your best interest at heart. So in explaining or sharing whatever it is that they would like to see you do, whoever it was, it could have been innocent. Parents are innocently passing on information or passing on doctrines that are not in the best interest of the family. So Consequently, over time, your chakras are energy centers. And so they generate energy. And depending on your level of focus on what it is you're attempting to do and the reason for it and what's in your heart of hearts. And there's a whole lot of moving parts that must be aligned in order to um, in order to know in order to know the functionality with clarity. So everything that we do, everything that we are doing, everything that has been done is a direct reflection of the mental instability of the energies that created the environment or that channeled their focus within the environment to either persuade, dissuade, control, manipulate, whatever the intentions were. It was not one of in the best interest of all. So we're now in a place, we're now in a time frame span, a the diaphragm, not diaphragm, but the in the in the precise divine moment in time that will allow us to once again return to ourselves the memory of who you already are, the memory of what you've already become, the memory of how you are to live. We don't need man made laws when there's a presence that you already are that speaks to you, communicates with you, guides you, but now you've been conditioned to turn away from it. You've been programmed to ignore it. You've been uh, controlled to the degree to suggest that it's not that important. This is more important. Competition is more important. Your ego is more important. What the hierarchies of the society that you live in is more important than any pursuits that you may have personally or that you may have individually. What is the group or the consensus of the community? And we'll put you in the community that we want you to be in, and you should follow that community. That's not how life should be or is. Not for the divine, sovereign, completely liberated soul. That's not your life. And so we've allowed ourselves to be partake in the game because it is a game. The soul is playing a game. This is the plane of existence. The third dimension is where the game can be played out and you can experience these things to know, because that's what it's about. It's about knowing. It's not about guessing, feeling, hoping, I believe in. No, it's about knowing. And the only way you know is have the experience. And having the experience means everything that you do and everything that you've done and everything that you will do in life or in this life, it shows up as a reflection so that you can adjust and manage your emotions, control your emotions. Remember, energy, frequency, and vibration, that's what you are. If you're focusing on what you see, feel, smell, touch, and hear to determine what it is that you do with your life, then you are out of balance because there's a balance that is necessary in terms of balancing. Balance means all. Balance means all, not the part that you like, that you think is cool, or you think is the best, or that's what I want to do and I like it. So I'm going to stay right there. Many have stayed right there, stayed right in place. And that's important to the system of things that wants you to remain in place so that they can keep a bead on you, make sure they know where you are and what you're doing and how. That's why you're in this environment. And now AI, everything is exposed. But guess what? So is the history of those descendants of the Neanderthal cavemen, the barbarians. Their history is being revealed. And if you're not critically thinking or don't want to think or not using critical thinking to actually see it for what it is, because this is where we are now. You have to see things for what they are. You can't be looking at it. Well, you can look at it any way you want. However, when you don't see it for what it is, and you're not accepting the truth of what it is within your own being, what happens is you take yourself farther away from your center. You keep yourself that much misaligned with you because you are a source within the source that is experiencing through you. The all of all that is source is experiencing through you. And so that gives you the power to express and be source unto yourself, to be divinely sanctioned, if you will, sovereign, to be the source within you, which radiates out to touch and have the experiences to come and feed back to you to know where you need to adjust, how you need to adjust, what you need to adjust, to continue as you flow towards the center, because you go out from the center, you come back like the boomerang. You're going to go out, come back. You're going to go out, come back. This is an eternal, infinite process. It's not something that, oh, there's a goal and you need to get here. And once you get there, then you got to go. Yeah, that's how it works. There is no end point. There's always expanding. The energy, frequency, and vibration is forever expanding within and without. So it's important that we understand we're energy, frequency, and vibration. That's bottom line. That's it. That's all. Now, what governs that? That's the key. Consciousness, being aware of you in the midst of being the all that is, experiencing all that is through you. That's how the source works. The source is experiencing everything and it's all at the same time. So how ludicrous is it to think that we are carbon copies of everyone else and everybody else? And if you're in this group, then you're all like that. And if you're in that group, then you're all like that. That's no such thing. That doesn't exist. That's not the reality and the truth that you live as a divine presence in this now moment. But if you think that way, if you want to live like that, that's a choice that you made and you have the right to do it. There's nothing going to stop you from it. However, within you, there's a chord that either strikes in a conjunction or in harmony with or against. And the minute you deny that, or you decide you don't want to deal with that, or you too afraid for whatever reason you don't deal with it because it's you, then that just takes you further and further away from your truth. It keeps you from having that solid relationship within yourself, because that relationship within yourself, as it expands, it will also generate and magnetize you to those sources that are just like you or similar, maybe not exactly like, because everyone's different. To suggest that everybody was a slave just because they have melanin in their skin, just because they're darker, to suggest that everybody was a slave, or everybody's got a car, or everybody smokes cigarettes, or everybody does anything is ridiculously ludicrous. And we've been known to accept these harsh perspectives around a reality that does not exist. Only if we decide it does. And we're the ones that make the difference, or we're the ones that decide, hey, I want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'll do it. Once you agree and you move in that fashion and you start taking on the mannerisms and the energies relating to that with the same intention, closing off your heart or opening up your heart, whichever one you want to do, that's on you. This has nothing to do with anybody but yourself. And I'm talking to me. So this live, whether I have one person, no people, it doesn't matter. I'm still broadcasting through this conduit. I'm receiving and transmitting at the same time. This vessel is a conduit for energy, frequency, and vibration. Depending on what level I can relate to in consciousness, that's the level of the chakras that I'm operating from and through. That's how this works. This is not you in that community, you're conscious, so you should know this, or you should. It's not about what you should or shouldn't, anything. It's more about what you allow yourself to know. And your knowing is filtered by your experiences. And your experiences are for you to know. So the experiences, but if you take your experiences to be bad, if you take your experiences to be good, whatever you think they are, then you will filter the types of experiences based on what you're comfortable with, or based on what you would like to see, or based on how you want to feel. That's how it works. You make the decision. You determine how this thing is going to flow or go. And energy, frequency, and vibration is always on the move. It's always moving. There's always adjustments that have to be made. There's always thoughts that come in and out that may or may not be yours, because now they're able to put thoughts in the ethers. And depending on what your level, what chakra, your level of chakras that it's really low frequency stuff that they're able to put out here. And you can grab it. However, if you're functioning or operating on the higher frequency or on a higher dimension, if you will, in terms of your consciousness, that stuff, you'll just watch it go by. It'll come and it'll go. But if you're functioning and operating in the lower chakra, which is everybody's fight or flight, fear, survival kind of thing, that's in the lower chakras. If that's how you're living, then you're gonna attract as a magnet all of those experiences that keep you in the lower chakra, and the lower mindset, and the lower consciousness of your being. You can elevate yourself by seeking to choose to want to. You don't even have to really do anything but have a desire and an intention. So if your desire matches your intention, then that's what you will experience, because that incorporates your heart. And at the bottom of all things that are done or experienced, the heart is the major component in it. If your heart's in it, then you'll do it to its maximum utmost. If your heart's not in it, then it's not going to work out. You're forcing it. And divinity, energy, frequency, and vibration, your divine presence and essence is not forcing anything. It doesn't force you to do anything. There's no timeline that you've got to accept, or timeline you have to come in tune with. There's nothing that says you got to, because there's none of that. This is by choice, and it's choice, and so it works best for you because you're choosing it. It's a desire to want it. It's not something that you got to do this or else. The bombs it's going to go off. That's why we're not into a time thing. And I am, but I'm usually on time. But I've had my challenges, and that's all. That's okay, because the bottom line is I'm doing it regardless. It doesn't matter. See, the intention is there, and why in the integrity and the authenticity. That's the key. Being genuinely authentic. It's not about impressing or trying to prove something or look at me kind of thing. I don't care if you like what I'm saying, don't like what I'm saying, agree with it. That's not the point. That's what children do. Children, and we are still children, believe it or not, within the presence of this that you already are. Your experiences should be as a child, experiencing and exploring and being excited and all of those types of things, like it's the very first time, which it is. That's why you don't have the memory. See, if you had your memory, you wouldn't be as enthusiastic, or you wouldn't grasp it with the enthusiasm and the authenticity if it's not genuine. But when you get a glimpse of it, when you start to touch and it, just put your finger on the thread of it, you get charged, you get excited. It's a whole new, opens up a whole new area of life for you. And this is so we have to make decisions based around what it is that we love. We have to make decisions around that which we want to enjoy. We have to make decisions around those things that bring us peace. You have to make the decisions, and there's sometimes hard decisions because you're used to being comfortable. You're used to getting whatever you get, and you got a nice job and making a nice, yeah, but sometimes that you get too comfortable and then you forget the stuff that really matters. You drift away like you daydreaming on a raft out in the middle of the ocean somewhere, and you have no direction. You don't know what's what. So it's kind of like if you get comfortable with it, and which is easy to do, um, then you get lost. And when you get lost, you forget. And when you forget that you're in an illusion, this is not, there's nothing here that's real. Let me repeat that. The third dimensional plane that we operate in through this society with the politics and none of it's real. Now, it becomes real when we attach ourselves emotionally, connect ourselves to the stories and the background and the history and the this and the that. And so then it becomes, you kind of, once you connect to it, it becomes like an adhesive. You stuck. And until you see it for what it is, you don't know that this is just for you to experience, gain from that, allow yourself to expand beyond that, because that's not everything. Nothing is permanent. As you can see, this system is falling apart. And it's falling apart because it was never meant to last. And it was never meant to last because we, you, me, we as one with source, have to have pressure. Pressure either can bust pipes or can make a diamond. The pressure is necessary. Think about the seed in the ground, the pressure of the earth enclosing on it with the water coming in and it's absorbing the nutrients in the water. So it starts to move towards the light because that's what's sustaining you. So that you have to start in the darkness, of course. Everything does. However, you're not supposed to stay in the darkness. You're not made to stay in that darkness because of fear or whatever, intimidation or whatever. None of this is designed to stay anywhere. It's designed for you to get it, got it, get it going, move on. That's what it's about. It's not about you being stuck. There's no such thing, because the mere again, energy, frequency, and vibration. Words have meaning, and the meaning of the words has a vibration, and the vibration either magnetizes you to what your heart's desire is, or it takes you away from it. You magnetize to it, or you repel it. If you're thinking all the time something's wrong, then something will go wrong. Plain and simple. It's not a. It's not a. It's really not rocket science. You are everything. You are everything, and everything is you. The whole idea around the reality that you, me, we as one live is to know all of what it is you want to know. And you don't know it just by reading. I mean, you can read things to help you understand, but you don't know it until you experience it, till you have an experience that touches you, that goes where you need it to go to get what it is that's in your yearning, that's yearning inside of you. Because we all have it. There's nobody that doesn't, because everything is divine. Again, everything is divine. I know it's religion and it's this belief and that belief. But when you think about it, if everything, while we're separate, while we're independent, we're not separate from the one source. We're independent um, dignitaries, independent diplomats of this one source. And this one source is strictly love. It has nothing to do with you. Is an offspring. Everything is an offspring from that. Even those you say they hate you, haters, they love you, but they don't know how to express it, or they don't want to express it to where it looks like it's going to support you. So they be the antithesis of that which they feel, which hurts them, because they're going against their own structure. They're going against their own energetic resonance within themselves. They're going against it. And that's fine. That's their choice. But just know that they're going to attract all of the things that go with that. See, this is as above, so below. As within, so without. The center of your being is processing information every nanosecond, conscious and unconscious, superconscious, whether you know it or not. And your heart is the ultimate bottom line filter that changes everything or allows it to remain the same. Your brain is the filter. Everything is a filter and relays data in and out. Everything. So, and so if you're not aware, understanding, overstanding the relatability of what is being said, that's a frequency. If you can't understand, overstand, that's a frequency level that you have yet to attain. Not saying you won't get there, it's just saying you ain't there yet. Doesn't mean you'll never get it, never know, or whatever. However, if religion, which came to replace spirituality, mind you, just be clear on this. Religion was given to those strongly melanated beings that had strong spiritual consciousness. If religion was what it's supposed to be, then it would bring people together. It would. So the fact that you have a gazillion different religions lets you know that they're not operating in oneness. When you start talking about the universe, uni is one. So when you're saying, "Oh, the universe is going to bring you," you're talking about you. You are the universe. You are a universe within the galaxy of the possibilities infinitely that have the choice, the free will to do whatever. This is what we know universe. One, uni is one, verse is like a song. A song has a melody. And so you are the coded, encoded one that's flowing through time. Energy, frequency, and vibration. That's how it works. So think about it. Universe, unicycle, unibrow, unique. It's all talking about one thing. And that's not a one thing or anything that's outside of you. Everything is within and radiates out. We've been taught, conditionally programmed to take what's out there and put it in here. Reading these books, and I got a degree, and I'm a doctor, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking nothing nobody want to do. I'm just saying that the reality and the truth of it is, it starts from within you. Respect don't come from what you've done and who they look like and who knows them and how many likes they get or how many, and that's what children do. That's important to a child, to feel wanted, to have the attention, to get attention. That's what children do. They need it. You can get on the phone. You have children. You get on the phone. The minute you get on the phone, they want your attention because it's about them, and that's fine. However, it's about knowing, not about guessing, hoping, wishing, believing. So when we talk about the elephant in the room, we have to look at the history of how we got to this place. How do we get to where this is? And from a divine perspective, it needed to be the way it is to put the pressure on the divine entities that are here to do whatever it is they're here to do. This is our time. This is our space. Whether it's 1 or 1,000, or if it's just you, this is it. And so it doesn't help. It doesn't help if you ignore it. What it does, it prolongs the inevitable. Because what's happening is the cycle, just like the sun, rain, just like the winter, spring, just like day and night, it's going to happen. It's happening. Whether you want to join in and accept it or not, it's happening. This cycle, the paradigm shifted more than a quarter of a century ago. And since they changed the calendars way back when, in Gregorian calendar, which is what we're on now, it only has 12 months. It was 13. 28 days equally in each month for 13 months. So we could be way into a different part of the stratosphere in terms of time, or in essence, it doesn't really even exist. What really exists is energy, frequency, and vibration responding to the consciousness as it travels or moves through the eternal now. This is what this is all about. We're just aspects of it, like going to the beach, one pebble of sand. A little grain, but it takes all of that to make up the sand, or make up the beach or the shore, or it's endless. You can't count it. You never would be able to count the grains of sand on a shore, on any beach. So it's not really about counting and trying to measure, because it's ignorant to try to measure the immeasurable. How can you measure something that's infinite? Well, we've pontificated the edges of time or the edges of the universe. No, you haven't. You're making assumptions based on theories, based on the numbers that you projected around a theory. Einstein himself, we've been following the theory of relativity, and even Einstein said what beats theory of what beats that is the imagination. So, and when you think about it, the theory of relativity, relative to what? Because there's too many variables that it could be relative to, unless you pick something in particular, because that's how it works. You focus on something, it will expand. If you focus on it long enough and you keep moving and generating energy, it's just like with the centrifugal force that builds up within your chakras, within the chakra, and the intention and the conscious energy that you feed it, right, wrong, and justice or unjust, that energy expands and it meets, magnetizes, and works to a point, some point. That's how it works. It's not something that is arbitrary, and if you don't do it, then you won't get it done. Yeah, to some extent, some things does work like that. But the time that we're in now, whether you know it or not, want to accept it or not, like it or not, there are some things that's going to happen, or that's things that are happening that you are going to get either swept into or ride the wave with. It's inevitable. This has happened before. Our memories may not be always on point with what it is or isn't, but doesn't mean that it isn't. We're talking about an infinite, eternal process. Infinitely eternal. There's a what do they call it? The realm of possibilities. It's eternal. It's infinite. There's no end to what we're doing and where we are. And if we constantly feeding ourselves things to make it a finite point, how can you define something infinite with finite definitions? Remember, we have to be 180 degrees from what we've been given throughout the eons of time. And that includes religion. Because if it's true to the nature of divinity, it would serve to balance you. And it does actually present itself, giving you the protocols that you can use to balance. However, we allow ourselves to be guided by an idea that someone says, but it's supposed to be done like this, or you're supposed to say it like this, or you're supposed to do it like this. Well, if you're going by what someone says and not allowing yourself to experience or experiment with yourself in regards to understanding, and overstanding it, then that's where the possible trauma could ensue, because you don't know the intention of the person that's trying to get you to go along with the program. You don't know their heart. You don't know why they did what they did, or why they're doing what they're doing. Or, I mean, you can probably guess. Anytime anyone is trying to get you or control you or have you do something that way they think you should do it, that is a weak individual, and there's an ulterior motive. This society was created and generated around ulterior motives. Groups of people got together and they were like-minded in energies, and they operated from the lower chakras only. They may have access or you may understand how the upper echelon of their being works. They may have that knowledge, but if they're practicing that which is antithetic to that, then that's what they got and that's what they're giving. And that's how we move based on that. And if you don't pull away, it's kind of like um, being uh, bonded, captivated, trapped. And if you continue to do what it is that you've been taught to do, like an automaton, then it serves the trap. It serves whoever set the trap, it serves them. It doesn't serve you. And again, it's all divine because at some point you have to, well, not you, me, we as one within source, within the realms of the reality of that which we are already. We have to come to terms with that. And once we embrace that, then we start critically thinking, we start to processing differently, we start to see it for what it is rather than what they say it is and what you want it to be. We start to see it as it is. And when we start to see as it is, then now you're more than a fool if you continue to go on and you know better, because that's what it's about. It's about knowing, not about I guess, I hope, I wish. They said, eh, let me see what I can see on my own. Let me try it for myself. Let me take a chance on me. That's how this works. It's not about how well you can do it like somebody else. Everybody want to be like Mike. No, they don't. Not everybody. Like I said before, I can't remember when I was a fan of anyone. But the people that I've met throughout my life that have been like notable people that everybody knows, and people get excited about it. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I like what you do. I appreciate compliments. I can do that. It's about respect because I know it takes a lot of work. I know it takes a lot of hours in by yourself working your skill or your craft or whatever, coming to terms with, you know, that's the respect thing. It's not about I'm a fan or ooh, I'm big eyed and or that's not my reality, I should say. And it's not a bad thing. It's not to say, you know, I don't think much of them. I just respect. I give respect and I respect it and I respect people. It's not about I'm enamored because you got a car or you drive a Rolls Royce or you're a doctor or you a title. Your title don't mean anything. It's really how are you? That's my concern. How are you? Because how you are really says everything. Your title says nothing. You can't figure or know someone just because they say, yeah, I'm a millionaire, or I'm a billionaire, and I have a gazillion dollars in the bank, and I could snuff your life out in a heartbeat. Okay, whatever. And that doesn't mean anything. So guess what? Life itself should be enjoyed. And if we're doing things and we don't enjoy it, now's the time to make a change. And I'm speaking to myself. I realize that because this is what it's always about. The individuals within the realm of this reality, as we matriculate through this life, the things that we broadcast from our through our presence is really for us individually. Now, others may experience something or spark some interest or get sparked to be inspired and all those things. It's great. That's what it's about. That's how divinity works. That is a precious, most sacred thing that is done within individuals. But I'm not doing it because I think I'm teaching somebody something. I'm doing this to enhance my presence because this is energetic. This is an energetic presence that I exude. And what I'm doing, saying, and allowing myself to express freely enhances me. It enhances what it is that I am. It enhances what I know. And it helps me to remember because I need it too. This is about me. I love, love, love me. And so I love, love, love you. And so that is it. Have a great day. I'll be here next week for sure. I'm going to get this thing down. It doesn't matter what. I'm going to get this thing down so that I can be here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday morning. Get your It Together 2.1 is in effect, and I will get some guests at some point, and I will start just like I used to have with the Blog Talk Show. For those of you that know, King James, KYNGJAYMES, had a Blog Talk radio program, and eventually I moved into AVOC as a voice of consciousness. And again, it was pretty dope, but it wasn't video. So now this is a video form. So I'll have to work that and figure that out and start to get some guests in so that I can. But again, I have to reacquaint myself with you guys. Everyone has to know something or have some kind of idea of who I am. So you can always go to my website, which is jhwentinc.com. Okay, that's jhwentinc.com. You go to that site, and hopefully you'll subscribe. There's some free, well, not free, yeah, they are free. They're complimentary, so to speak. You can listen to some poems set to music, which is something as an entertainment factor, which is what King James is, entertainment. I'm not always in an entertaining mode. When I'm doing this program, pretty much I am a voice of consciousness, and that is why I say AVOC is the acronym for a voice of consciousness. Okay, so once again, next Saturday, what is it? I would imagine the 24th is going to be the 31st. So let's see here. Yeah, no, 31st. So next Saturday, 31st, 10 a.m. We're going to try it again. Once again, it's always a pleasure and an honor. And what I am who I am is divine. What I am is divinity in motion. Out.